Scientists believe that all living organisms on Earth have gradually evolved from other life forms over hundreds of millions of years. But what exactly did birds, the only creatures with feathers today, evolve from? This mystery puzzled scientists for over a century. In the 1990s, a Chinese scientist named Ji Qiang discovered a remarkable fossil of a dinosaur that stood out from others. He published a paper proposing that birds evolved from dinosaurs. But the publication of his research was met with strong skepticism. Could the mystery of bird origins be solved? And if so, how? Let's find out in this edition of Footprints. On the campus of Hebei Jiao University, paleontologist Ji Qiang often spends his spare time wandering around observing fossils at its dinosaur exhibition hall of the Earth Science Museum. Although he has examined the various fossils in the collection countless times, as a paleontologist and evolutionary biologist, Ji Qiang shares an inseparable bond with them.
In paleontological research, we emphasize the importance of evidence. Fossils are a clear form of evidence. Without obtaining key evidence, a theory simply cannot stand.
Since the 1990s, Ji Qiang has made groundbreaking discoveries in many areas of paleontology. What brought him international fame in the field was his use of 3 fossils to solve a mystery that had perplexed the scientific community for over a century: the origin of birds. In 1973, Ji Qiang was admitted to Nanjing University, one of China's best higher learning institutes. He was majoring in stratigraphy and paleontology. The young man cherished this opportunity for higher education deeply, and with unwavering perseverance since then, he has devoted himself to learning, and then scientific research in his field.
To be honest, working in geology or paleontology is indeed very challenging. For example, when conducting scientific expeditions on the Qinghai-Xizang Plateau, each trip lasted several months. For months, there were no facilities for bathing or similar comforts. But when you solve a major academic problem, there is immense satisfaction in it. Truly, joy lies within hardship.
Hard work pays off. He received funding from the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation of Germany in 1990 to pursue postdoctoral research there, focusing on a type of microfossil of sea cucumbers, conodonts. The museum at the Humboldt University of Berlin houses many fossils, and Ji Qiang often visited it. Over time, a particular Archaeopteryx fossil caught his attention. At first glance, the fossilized creature resembled a bird, as it had wings and feathers. However, the well-developed claws at the end of its wings, its long tail vertebrae, and neatly arranged teeth all exhibited characteristics of reptiles. This suggested that birds likely evolved from reptiles. But which specific group of reptiles did birds originate from? This question had been long a subject of intense debate in the field of paleontology. Some scholars argued that birds originated from thecodonts, an early group of reptiles. Others believed they evolved from a subgroup of thecodonts known as pseudosuchians. Another camp insisted that birds descended from the dinosaurs. This debate remained unresolved for a long time, as all these hypotheses shared a common weak point: the lack of fossil evidence. In the field of paleontology, feathers are widely regarded as the most distinctive features that sets birds apart from other animals, and they are considered key to unlocking the mystery of avian origins. Although Ji Qiang was not studying birds or ancient reptiles during his time abroad, the Archaeopteryx fossil in the German Museum and the academic puzzle dating back to Charles Darwin's era left a deep impression on him. Little did he know then that the true turning point in solving the mystery of bird origins would soon come to him in an extraordinary way. After completing his studies in Germany and returning to China, Ji Qiang assumed the role of director of the Geological Museum of China in Beijing. One day in 1996, a fossil from Liaoning province in northeast China altered the course of Ji Qiang's life.
As soon as the fossil was revealed, everyone present was utterly stunned. The specimen resembled a traditional Chinese landscape painting. It was incredibly beautiful.
This was the fossil of a small dinosaur, evidently a carnivorous one based on its features. But a subtle discovery on the fossil left Ji Qiang profoundly shocked.
From its head down to its neck, body and tail, the dinosaur was covered in short, fiber-like structures, less than a centimeter long. Before 1996, no such structures had ever been reported in dinosaur fossils discovered worldwide. I thought it couldn't possibly be hair. Why? Dinosaurs were classified as reptiles at that time. Only mammals can grow hair, while reptiles grow scales. They shouldn't have hair. So the fiber-like structures in the fossil simply couldn't be hair.
If it wasn't hair, could it be feathers? The emergence of this idea struck even Ji Qiang himself as astonishing.
If it were indeed feathers, and this was a dinosaur with primitive feathers, its scientific significance would be immense. It would become the world's first dinosaur discovered with feathers. I believed this specimen represented an intermediate transitional type between traditional dinosaurs and birds, and I named it Sinosauropteryx.
Ji Qiang documented the bold hypothesis derived from the Sinosauropteryx in a paper published in the Chinese language journal Chinese Geology. In the paper, he proposed that the structures of Sinosauropteryx were primitive feathers, with unbranched barbules already developing from the feather follicles. But to Ji Qiang's surprise, the paper stirred a tremendous upheaval across the paleontological community, and his viewpoint faced intense skepticism from the academic world. At the time, very few in the paleontology community supported the hypothesis that birds originated from dinosaurs. Many scientists argued that dinosaurs, thriving under the favorable conditions of the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, had no need to develop feathers and evolve into birds. Thus, skepticism toward Ji Qiang's findings poured in from all sides.
I never expected that publishing a short article in Chinese Geology would stir up such a monumental controversy.
Shortly after, an article published in the British journal Nature directly challenged Ji Qiang's viewpoint. The article argued that the hair-like structures on Sinosauropteryx were not typical feathers, but rather resembled keratinous bristles, similar to those found on certain reptiles, such as the dorsal structures of lizards. The skepticism and refutation from peers plunged Ji Qiang into the eye of the storm overnight.
It is true that when it comes to major issues, especially those of international significance, like globally debated evolutionary questions, if you take one wrong step or publish a poorly written article, you could easily see a lifetime of reputation vanish overnight. It would be incredibly difficult to recover.
Amid the heated controversy, Ji Qiang found a sense of calm instead.
All you can do is to persevere and stay firm, believing that what you are doing is right. You shouldn't dwell on anything else.
Freeing himself from the entanglement of disputes and denials, Ji Qiang redirected his energy back into research. A scientist's intuition told him that Sinosauropteryx could not possibly be the only feathered dinosaur preserved as a fossil. He was determined to find new evidence. Thanks to its unique geological environment, the western region of Liaoning province in northeast China has preserved a rich deposit of fossils over hundreds of millions of years. It was here in 1997 that Ji Qiang discovered a second crucial fossil, the fossil called Protarchaeopteryx. On this small carnivorous dinosaur fossil, Ji Qiang found what he had been most eager to see.
The feathers on its tail, rows of symmetrical feathers, when observed under a microscope, were completely identical to those of modern birds. This was undoubtedly another feathered dinosaur, the second fossil of a feathered dinosaur I found.
Ji Qiang was ecstatic. These two pieces of evidence were more than sufficient to support his theory, giving him a chance to turn the tide. However, some international paleontologists still refused to accept his conclusions.
One scholar argued that Protarchaeopteryx did not actually have feathers. When I asked for the reason, he claimed it was likely a coincidence that the dinosaur had died and its skeleton happened to press against the feathers of another bird.
Although deeply disappointed, Ji Qiang did not lose heart. He felt he was very close to unraveling the mystery. After carefully studying and comparing the fossils of Sinosauropteryx and Protarchaeopteryx once again, Ji Qiang made a bold inference.
Over 100 million years ago, when feathers first appeared, the primary function was likely to keep warm. It was only later that they gradually evolved for flight.
Since the evolution of feathers was a gradual process, there must be another, yet undiscovered fossil, one that would reveal a dinosaur in the midst of feather evolution. Its discovery would provide a complete chain of evolutionary evidence supporting the theory that birds originated from dinosaurs.
For a true scientist, the real challenge isn't competing with others, but pushing oneself. Back then, whether it was windy, rainy, snowy, winter or summer, no matter the time, whenever I received word of new information, I would immediately drive there. I travel to Liaoning province 7 or 8 times a year. Sometimes I set off in the middle of the night, sometimes early in the morning. That's how it was, because I was determined to solve this problem. Key fossils are crucial. Without them, you have nothing to say, no arguments to make.
The western region of Liaoning province in northeast China is part of the Johol Biota Fossil Distribution Area, a world-class treasure trove of paleontological fossils. Here, fossils of some of the world's earliest flowering plants and the earliest known eutherian mammals have been discovered. For over a century, many significant geological and paleontological theories have found crucial fossil evidence in this region. Persistence paid off. After hundreds of days and nights of exploration, Ji Qiang and his research team discovered another crucial fossil in the region.
The fossil is a typical half-dinosaur, half-bird morphology. Its forelimbs have already developed symmetrical, though not yet fully elongated feathers, exactly the primitive form of flight feathers we had never seen before.
This fossil was named Caudipteryx zoe. On the fossil, Ji Qiang discovered another piece of evidence: gastroliths.
Functionally, the gastric development and digestive method of Caudipteryx zoe are completely identical to those of modern birds. It would swallow stones to increase grinding strength during digestion.
Without a doubt, this was the missing key fossil in the evolutionary evidence chain. Ji Qiang's long-standing perseverance and dedication finally bore fruit.
It made a huge splash. My article was featured on the cover of Nature magazine, and the National Geographic magazine also reported the discovery on its cover. This clearly demonstrates the immense significance of the finding.
In February 1999, an unprecedented international academic symposium on the origin of birds was held at Yale University in the United States. Over 500 scientists gathered for the event, and Ji Qiang was also invited to attend. After careful deliberation, an overwhelming majority of the participating scientists concluded that the discoveries of the 3 fossils in China strongly supported the theory that birds originated from dinosaurs. The 3 fossils are Sinosauropteryx, Protarchaeopteryx, and Caudipteryx zoe. Some scholars even hailed the discovery of these 3 fossils as a major breakthrough in the study of biological evolution since Charles Darwin proposed the theory of species evolution in the 1850s. The 3 fossils discovered by Ji Qiang paint a vivid picture of an ancient scene for us today. Over 100 million years ago, a certain group of small theropod dinosaurs embarked on a challenging journey of evolution. Gradually, feathers emerged on their bodies, and their forms became increasingly lightweight. Then, one day, they finally soared into the sky, evolving into a new form of life: birds. Today, although Ji Qiang is over 70 years old, he continues to work tirelessly in the field of paleontology, always anticipating new scientific discoveries. With that, we conclude this edition of Footprints. Thanks for listening. I'm Bob Jones. If you're interested in hearing more about the lives of ordinary but incredible people in China, follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. Just key in Footprints, and you can find more stories anytime, anywhere. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.